As Alex stepped into the long-abandoned research station, he was met with an eerie silence. The once thriving facility was now a mere shell of its former self, a haunting reminder of the transience of human innovation. The air was thick with the whispers of forgotten technologies and the remnants of a bygone era. Nevertheless, Alex, driven by curiosity and a thirst for knowledge, began to survey the ruins, unearthing relics and artifacts that held secrets of a long-forgotten past. "What's that?" Alex asked, pointing to a strange, glowing entity. "It's an ancient relic, a remnant of a long-abandoned technology," replied one of the station's inhabitants. "Ancient," Alex repeated, his interest paled. "Not exactly," the being responded. "It's a data storage device, holding information on the station's early experiments." Alex's eyes narrowed. "What kind of information does it store?" "It's a vast collection of data on various failed experiments, attempts to crack the codes of the universe," the entity explained. As Alex continued his survey, he stumbled upon a mysterious artifact, a device emitting a unique energy signature. "This one's a bit of an enigma," Alex said, his tone intrigued. The being regarded him with a mixture of confusion and fascination. "It's a remnant of an experiment that went awry, a product of a doomed research project." Alex's scrutiny intensified, and he began to analyze the relic more intensely. "This appears to be some sort of energy signature, but it's unclear what its purpose is." The entity's expression turned quizzical. "It is complicated, a remnant of something that never quite worked as intended." Alex's tone became more inquisitive. "What is the nature of this thing?" As the survey continued, Alex encountered a strange, unidentifiable object, a relic of a long-forgotten technology. This is a fragment of something that never was." The being's demeanor turned perplexed. "It's a device that's not quite functioning as intended." Alex's frustration grew as he struggled to comprehend the entity's true nature. This is a mystery." As the survey progressed, Alex's questions became more probing, and his understanding of the relic deepened. "What is the significance of this artifact?" The entity's response was a mixture of confusion and enlightenment. "It's a complex thing, not quite making sense on its own, but somehow fitting into a larger context." Through his examination, Alex began to unravel the mysteries surrounding the relic, gaining a deeper understanding of its intricacies and the role it played in the larger scheme. Previously, Alex Carter ventured into the long-abandoned research station on the edge of the galaxy, driven by the promise of an ancient technology capable of amplifying humanity's energy production. As he delved deeper into the ruins, he encountered cryptic relics and artifacts, each holding secrets of a bygone era. His discoveries hinted at a complex web of failed experiments and mysterious technologies, but the true purpose and significance of these relics remained shrouded in mystery. As Alex's eyes locked onto the enigmatic device emitting a unique energy signature, a sudden jolt of electricity coursed through the air, and the chamber was bathed in an intense, blinding light. When the light faded, a figure stood before him, a woman with piercing blue eyes and raven-black hair, her features chiseled from the same stone as the ancient technology surrounding them. "Welcome, Alex Carter," she said, her voice like silk wrapped around steel. "I've been waiting for you. My name is Lyra, and I am the guardian of this station. You've uncovered the first piece of a puzzle that will change the course of human history." Alex's instincts screamed warning, but his curiosity kept him rooted to the spot. "What do you mean? What's the significance of this technology?" Lyra's smile was a whispered secret. "This station was once home to a project codenamed Eternity. Its purpose was to harness the power of a nearby black hole, creating an infinite energy source. But the project was shut down and the technology lost to the ages. Until now." Alex's mind raced with the implications. "What about the rival factions and alien powers? Wouldn't they be interested in this technology?" Lyra's gaze turned glacial. "They are, and they'll stop at nothing to claim it. That's why we need to move swiftly. The fate of humanity hangs in the balance, Alex. Will you join me in unlocking the secrets of eternity, or will you let the shadows consume us all? With Lyra's words, the air seemed to vibrate with an electric sense of possibility. Alex knew that the path ahead would be fraught with danger, but the promise of infinite energy and a brighter future for humanity was too great to ignore. He steeled himself for the challenges to come, his determination forged in the crucible of uncertainty. "I am in," he said, his voice resolute. "Let's uncover the secrets of eternity." As Lyra nodded, the chamber erupted into a flurry of activity, scientists and engineers emerging from the shadows to begin their work. The fate of humanity hung precariously in the balance, but with Alex and Lyra at the helm, the possibilities seemed endless. But amidst the chaos, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, that unseen forces were closing in on their fragile alliance. The game of cat and mouse was far from over, and the stakes had never been higher. Previously, Alex Carter ventured into the long-abandoned research station on the edge of the galaxy, driven by the promise of an ancient technology capable of amplifying humanity's energy production. He discovered cryptic relics and artifacts, each holding secrets of a bygone era, and encountered Lyra, the guardian of the station, who revealed the existence of the Eternity Project, a lost technology capable of harnessing the power of a black hole for infinite energy. As Alex stood in the heart of the research station, the hum of machinery and the chatter of scientists and engineers filled the air, but his momentary triumph was short-lived, as Lyra's words still echoed in his mind. "They'll stop at nothing to claim it." The shadows seemed to darken, and the weight of their quest settled heavier on his shoulders. He turned to Lyra, his eyes locked on hers. "We need to move faster. We can't let them catch up to us." Lyra's gaze snapped to his, a hint of a smile playing on her lips. "I've been expecting you to say that, Alex. Follow me." She led him through the winding corridors of the station, the air thick with the scent of ozone and burning circuitry. They halted in front of a massive, blast-proof door, adorned with warning signs and hazard symbols. Lyra produced a small keycard from her pocket and swiped it through the reader. The door groaned, then slid open with a hiss. The room beyond was a marvel of engineering, rows of sleek, silver pods stretching towards the ceiling like sentinels. Lyra strode towards the central pod, her footsteps echoing off the walls. "Welcome to the Eternity Fleet," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. These ships were designed to harness the energy of the black hole, but they were never completed. With your help, we can finish what was started. Alex's eyes widened as he took in the scope of the project. This wasn't just a game changer. This was a civilization changer. He felt the weight of history on his shoulders, the burden of responsibility settling heavier with every passing moment. But as he turned to Lyra, a flicker of movement caught his attention. A figure, tall and imposing, stood at the edge of the room, their features masked by shadows. Lyra's gaze followed his, her eyes narrowing. "Who are you?" she demanded, her voice like steel. The figure didn't move, didn't respond. Alex's instincts screamed warning, but he stood frozen, unsure of what to do next. "I think we have a problem," Lyra whispered, her hand drifting towards a hidden holster. And in that moment, Alex knew that the true battle for humanity's future had only just begun. Previously, Alex Carter discovered the Eternity Project, a lost technology capable of harnessing the power of a black hole for infinite energy, and encountered a mysterious figure lurking in the shadows of the research station. As Alex stood frozen, unsure of what to do next, the air in the room seemed to thicken with tension. Lyra's hand hovered over her hidden holster, her eyes locked on the enigmatic figure. The silence was oppressive, punctuated only by the soft hum of the machinery and the heavy breathing of the scientists and engineers who had gathered around them. Suddenly, the figure stepped forward, its features illuminated by the faint light of the pods. Alex's heart raced as he took in the stranger's imposing physique, and the cold, calculating gaze that seemed to bore into his very soul. "I am Kale," the figure announced, its voice low and menacing. "And I've been waiting for you, Alex Carter." The words sent a shiver down Alex's spine as Kale began to circle around him, its eyes never leaving his. Lyra's hand tightened around her gun, ready to draw at a moment's notice. "What do you want?" Alex demanded, trying to keep his voice steady. Kale's smile was thin and mirthless. "I want what you want, Alex. The Eternity technology, and it'll stop at nothing to get it." With those words, the room erupted into chaos. Scientists and engineers scrambled to get out of the way as Lyra drew her gun, training it on Kale. Alex knew they had to act fast. They couldn't let Kale get his hands on the technology. But as he turned to Lyra, he saw that they were surrounded. More figures, just as imposing as Kale, emerged from the shadows, their eyes fixed on the Eternity fleet. "We're outnumbered," Lyra whispered, her voice laced with urgency. "We need to get out of here now." Alex nodded, his mind racing. They had to escape, and they had to do it fast. But as he turned to make a break for the door, he realized that Kale had one final trick up his sleeve. The blast-proof door slammed shut behind them, trapping them in the room. Alex spun around, his heart sinking. They were cornered and Kale was closing in. "It's over," Kale declared, its voice dripping with malice. "Y'all never leave this station alive." Alex knew they had to think fast or risk losing everything they'd worked for. He turned to Lyra, his eyes locked on hers. "We need a plan," he whispered, his voice urgent. "And we need it now." Lyra's gaze snapped to his, a hint of determination in her eyes. "I've got one," she whispered back. "Let's make our move." With those words, Alex and Lyra launched into action, their fight for survival and the future of humanity hanging precariously in the balance. Previously, Alex Carter and his team discovered the Eternity Project, a lost technology capable of harnessing the power of a black hole for infinite energy, only to be confronted by the enigmatic figure Kale, who revealed his intentions to claim the technology for himself. As Alex and Lyra prepared to face off against Kale and his cohorts, they found themselves trapped in the research station with no clear escape route. The sound of Lyra's gun cocking echoed through the room as Alex stood back to back with her, surveying their surroundings. The scientists and engineers who had been working on the Eternity Project cowered in the corners, their eyes wide with fear. Kale's imposing figure loomed before them, his cold gaze piercing through the dimly lit space. Suddenly, Lyra's eyes flickered to the left, her head cocked slightly. "Alex, I think I found our way out," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the heavy breathing of their captives. Alex followed her gaze, his heart racing as he spotted a narrow ventilation shaft in the wall. It was their only hope. With a nod, Lyra holstered her gun and sprinted toward the shaft, Alex hot on her heels. The ventilation shaft was narrow, forcing Alex to crawl on his belly as he chased after Lyra. The air was thick with dust, and the sounds of Kale's men echoing through the ductwork made it seem as though they were closing in from all sides. As they inched forward, Lyra's hand reached back, her fingers closing around Alex's wrist. "We're almost there," she whispered, her voice strained. The ductwork suddenly gave way to a cramped maintenance tunnel, the walls lined with pipes and electrical conduits. Lyra led the way, her movements swift and precise as she navigated the twisting tunnel. They burst out of the tunnel, emerging into the relative safety of the research station's corridors. Lyra didn't hesitate, grabbing Alex's hand as she pulled him toward the docking bay. Their ship, the Nova Spire, awaited them, its engines thrumming as it prepared for liftoff. Alex's heart swelled with relief as they sprinted up the gangway, Lyra slamming the hatch shut behind them. The ship lurched forward, throwing Alex and Lyra into their seats as they blasted out of the research station's hangar. The stars blurred around them, a whirlwind of color and light as they fled into the unknown. For a moment, they sat in stunned silence, the only sound the hum of the ship's engines. Then, Lyra turned to Alex, her eyes sparkling with determination. "We may have escaped Kale," she said, her voice low and urgent, "but we're not out of this yet. We have to get back to Earth, warned them about Kale and his plans. Alex nodded, his mind racing. They had to move fast before Kale could regroup and launch a counterattack. As he gazed out at the stars, a new determination burned within him. He would stop at nothing to protect humanity, to ensure that their future was bright and secure. But as they hurtled through the void, the silence was broken by an unfamiliar voice, echoing through the ship's comms system. "Alex Carter, this is an unknown ally. I've been watching you from the shadows. I have information about the Eternity technology, information that could change the course of human history." Alex's heart skipped a beat as he leaned forward, his eyes locked on the comm screen. Who was this mysterious ally, and what secrets did they hold? The fate of humanity hung in the balance, and Alex was ready to do whatever it took to secure their future. Previously, Alex Carter and Lyra escaped the research station with the Eternity Project, narrowly avoiding Kale's clutches, only to receive a cryptic message from an unknown ally with potentially game-changing information about the ancient technology. As Alex's eyes remained fixed on the comm screen, the mysterious ally's voice continued, echoing with an air of urgency. "Meet me on the planet Zorvath in the outer rim of the galaxy. I'll reveal the secrets of eternity, but be warned, Alex, you're not the only one searching for it." The transmission cut off, leaving Alex and Lyra staring at each other in stunned silence. The implications were staggering. Could this unknown ally hold the key to unlocking the full potential of eternity? Alex's mind raced with possibilities as he turned to Lyra. "Set a course for Zorvath. We need to get there before Kale or anyone else does." Lyra nodded, her fingers flying across the navigation console as she plotted their course. Alex felt a surge of determination build within him. He was prepared to take risks, to push the limits of what was thought possible, to secure humanity's future. As the Nova Spire hurtled through space, Alex and Lyra discussed the possibilities, their conversation hushed but intense. They knew that Kale would stop at nothing to claim eternity for himself, and that this mysterious ally might be their only hope. The planet Zorvath loomed before them, a desolate wasteland of twisted rock formations and toxic gas clouds. Lyra navigated the treacherous terrain, her skills honed from years of exploration and combat. As they descended onto the planet's surface, Alex's senses went on high alert. A figure emerged from the swirling mist, cloaked in shadows. "Welcome, Alex Carter," the figure said, its voice low and gravelly. "I am Zare, a member of an ancient organization that has protected humanity's interests for centuries." Zare stepped forward, revealing a figure clad in worn black armor. Alex sensed that this was no ordinary being, that Zare represented a power that went beyond the Galactic Council. "Eternity is more than just a technology," Zare began, its eyes gleaming with an otherworldly intensity. "It's a gateway to an ancient network, one that spans the galaxy. With it, humanity can reclaim its rightful place among the stars." Alex's heart pounded in his chest as Zare handed him a data crystal. "This contains the coordinates to an abandoned research station, where the secrets of eternity await. But be warned, Alex, you're not the only one searching for it. Kale has allies, powerful ones who will stop at nothing to claim eternity for themselves." As Alex gazed at the data crystal, a cold dread crept up his spine. He knew that he was about to embark on a perilous journey, one that would test his resolve, his courage, and his leadership. The fate of humanity hung in the balance, and Alex Carter was ready to face whatever lay ahead. Previously, Alex Carter received a cryptic message from an unknown ally, Zare, hinting at a powerful ancient technology hidden on a long-abandoned research station on the edge of the galaxy. Alex and Lyra escaped the research station with the Eternity Project, narrowly avoiding Kale's clutches, and set a course for the planet Zorvath to meet Zare. As Alex gazed at the data crystal, a cold dread crept up his spine, but his determination to secure humanity's future only intensified. "Lyra, plot a course for the research station," he said, his voice firm and resolute. Lyra nodded, her eyes locked on the navigation console as she worked with precision. Course plotted, Alex. We'll arrive in 3 hours. Alex turned to Zare, his mind racing with questions. What can you tell me about the research station? What kind of security can we expect? Zare's gravelly voice was laced with a hint of warning. The station is a death trap, Alex. Abandoned for centuries, it's been overrun by rogue machines and toxic waste. Y'all need to be resourceful and cunning to survive. Alex's grip on the data crystal tightened. He knew that he couldn't afford to show weakness, not now, not when the fate of humanity hung in the balance. I won't be intimidated, he said, his voice steady. I'll get to the bottom of this, no matter what it takes. As the Nova Spire hurtled towards the research station, Alex's thoughts turned to the unknown dangers that lay ahead. He knew that Kale's allies would stop at nothing to claim eternity, and that he had to be prepared to face the worst. The research station loomed before them, a twisted mass of ruined buildings and tangled machinery. Lyra brought the Nova Spire in for a rough landing, and Alex felt the ship shudder beneath him. "Let's move out," he said, his voice firm, as he grabbed his rifle and stepped out into the unknown. The air was thick with the stench of toxic waste, and the silence was oppressive, punctuated only by the creaking of twisted metal and the distant hum of rogue machines. Alex's senses were on high alert as he swept the perimeter, his rifle at the ready. Suddenly, a burst of gunfire echoed through the station, and Alex's heart leapt into his throat. "Lyra, we've got company," he yelled, as he sprinted towards the source of the noise. A group of heavily armed mercenaries emerged from the shadows, their leader a towering figure with a scarred face and a cold, calculating gaze. "Well, well, well," the mercenary sneered. "Looks like we've got ourselves a little treasure hunter. You're not going anywhere, Carter. This tech belongs to us." Alex's finger tightened on the trigger as he faced off against the mercenaries. He knew that he had to protect the Eternity Project at all costs. The fate of humanity hung in the balance, and Alex Carter was ready to fight to the death to secure its future. Previously, Alex Carter received a cryptic message from an unknown ally, Zare, hinting at a powerful ancient technology hidden on a long-abandoned research station on the edge of the galaxy. Alex and Lyra escaped the research station with the Eternity Project, only to find themselves ambushed by a group of heavily armed mercenaries. As the mercenaries closed in, Alex's training kicked in, and he took cover behind a nearby crate, his rifle firing in quick, controlled bursts. Lyra joined the fray, her agility and quick reflexes allowing her to dodge the mercenaries' hail of gunfire. But despite their valiant efforts, they soon found themselves pinned down, outnumbered and outgunned. Just as all seemed lost, a strange, pulsating energy field erupted from the heart of the research station, bathing the area in an otherworldly glow. The mercenaries, caught off guard, stumbled backwards, giving Alex and Lyra the opening they needed. "Now's our chance," Alex yelled, grabbing Lyra's arm and sprinting towards the heart of the energy field. As they pushed deeper into the station, the energy field grew stronger, its pulsations intensifying until Alex felt like he was being pulled apart at the molecular level. But he refused to give up, driven by his determination to unlock the secrets of the ancient technology. Suddenly they burst into a vast, dimly lit chamber, the walls lined with ancient machinery and strange, glowing orbs. At the center of the room, a massive, crystalline structure pulsed with an energy that seemed almost sentient. By the gods, Lyra breathed, her eyes wide with wonder. "What is this?" Alex's eyes were fixed on the crystal, his mind racing with the implications. "I think this is it," he whispered. "The source of the ancient technology. This is what Zare was talking about." But as they approached the crystal, a figure emerged from the shadows, its eyes glowing with an unearthly intelligence. "Welcome, Alex Carter," it said, its voice like a gentle breeze on a summer's day. "I have been waiting for you. My name is Arya, and I am the guardian of this technology. You have passed the first test, but are you prepared to face the challenges that lie ahead?" As Alex faced Arya, He knew that he had crossed a threshold, entering a realm where the stakes were higher, the risks greater, and the rewards unimaginable. But he was ready, for he knew that the future of humanity hung in the balance, and he was willing to do whatever it took to secure its future. Previously, Alex Carter received a cryptic message from an unknown ally, Zare, hinting at a powerful ancient technology hidden on a long-abandoned research station on the edge of the galaxy. Alex and Lyra escaped the research station with the Eternity Project, only to find themselves ambushed by a group of heavily armed mercenaries, but were saved by a strange, pulsating energy field that erupted from the heart of the research station, leading them to a vast chamber housing the ancient technology and its enigmatic guardian, Arya. As Alex gazed into Arya's unearthly eyes, he felt an electric sense of anticipation coursing through his veins. He knew that he stood at the threshold of a new era, one where humanity's fate hung precariously in the balance. "What challenges lie ahead?" he asked, his voice steady despite the trepidation that threatened to overwhelm him. Arya's smile was like a sunrise on a distant planet, illuminating the dark recesses of Alex's mind. "The first test was merely a demonstration of your resolve," she said, her voice dripping with an otherworldly wisdom. "The true challenge begins now. You must prove your worth to wield this ancient technology, to harness its power and wisdom." With those enigmatic words, the chamber began to shift and transform around them, the ancient machinery springing to life with a deafening roar. The air was filled with the scent of ozone and burning circuits as Arya led them on a wild ride through the heart of the research station, hurtling them towards a destiny that only she could see. As they navigated the maelstrom of lights and sounds, Lyra grasped Alex's hand, her eyes locked on his with a fierce determination. "We're in this together, Alex," she whispered, her voice barely audible above the din. Alex's heart swelled with gratitude as he squeezed her hand, drawing strength from her presence. Together, they faced the unknown, their bond forged in the fire of adversity. The ride finally came to an end, the chamber reverberating with the aftermath of the chaotic energy. Arya stood before them, her eyes blazing with an intense inner light. "The first trial is upon you," she declared, her voice echoing off the walls. "You must retrieve the chrono-displacement module from the abandoned temporal research facility on the planet of Zeridiaroman 4. The module holds the key to unlocking the ancient technology's true potential. But be warned, Alex Carter, you are not the only one seeking this prize. The rival factions and alien powers will stop at nothing to claim it for themselves." As Arya's words hung in the air, Alex felt the weight of his responsibility settle upon him like a mantle. He knew that he had to succeed, not just for humanity's sake, but for the sake of the entire galaxy. The stakes had never been higher, the risks never greater. But Alex was ready, his heart pounding with anticipation, his spirit blazing with a fierce determination to shape the course of history. Previously, Alex Carter discovered the ancient technology hidden on a long-abandoned research station on the edge of the galaxy, guarded by the enigmatic Arya. With Lyra by his side, Alex was tasked with retrieving the chrono-displacement module from the abandoned temporal research facility on the planet of Zeridiaroman 4, a prize sought by rival factions and alien powers. As Alex stood tall, his determination ignited like a beacon. Lyra's hand slipped from his, her eyes darting towards the chamber's entrance. "We need to move now," she warned, her voice laced with a sense of urgency. And with that, they plunged into the unknown, racing against time to claim the module before their adversaries could. Their escape from the research station was a blur of high-speed navigation through treacherous asteroid fields, Lyra's exceptional piloting skills barely keeping them ahead of the rival treasure hunters hot on their tail. The tension in the air was palpable, the silence between them punctuated only by the steady hum of the ship's engines and the soft beeps of the navigation system. As they entered the orbit of Zeridiaroman 4, the ship shuddered, Lyra's grip on the controls tightening. "What's happening?" Alex asked, his heart racing. "We're being hailed by an unknown entity," Lyra replied, her eyes fixed on the view screen. "They claim to be a coalition of scientists and engineers who possess critical knowledge of the temporal research facility. They're offering to meet with us and provide assistance in retrieving the chrono displacement module." Alex's instincts screamed warning, but Lyra's expression was unreadable. "It's a risk," he said, weighing their options, "but one we might need to take. Set up the meeting, let's hear what they have to say." The meeting point was a cramped, dilapidated docking bay on the outskirts of Zeridiroman 4 main settlement. Alex and Lyra arrived cautiously, their eyes scanning the dimly lit area, the air heavy with the smell of fuel and ozone. A figure emerged from the shadows, dressed in tattered laboratory attire, her eyes sunken but her gaze piercing. "I am Dr. Sophia Patel," she introduced herself, her voice laced with a hint of desperation. "We've been watching you, Alex Carter. We know what you're after, and we're willing to help." Alex's gut told him to trust her, but his experience warned him to be cautious. He nodded, his eyes locked on Sophia's. "What do you need in return?" Sophia's smile was a thin, nervous thing. "We want a guarantee of protection. We've been hiding from the rival factions for years, watching as they pillaged and destroyed our research. We need someone with your influence to ensure our safety." Alex hesitated, the stakes hovering precariously in the balance. But Lyra's hand on his arm was a reminder of the bigger picture. He nodded, a calculated risk. "Deal." Previously, Alex Carter and Lyra navigated treacherous asteroid fields to reach the planet Zeridiroman 4, where they planned to retrieve the chrono displacement module from an abandoned temporal research facility. They were met with a surprise offer of assistance from a coalition of scientists and engineers, led by Dr. Sophia Patel, who promised to provide critical knowledge in exchange for protection from rival factions. As Alex and Lyra followed Dr. Patel through the winding corridors of the research facility, the air thick with the smell of decay and neglect, he couldn't shake off the feeling that they were walking into a trap. Lyra's eyes scanning their surroundings, her hand resting on the grip of her blaster, seemed to mirror his concerns. Dr. Patel led them to a heavily fortified door, adorned with cryptic warning symbols and biohazard signs. "This is it," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "The module is inside, but be warned. The facility's automated defense systems are still active. We'll need to navigate them if we hope to retrieve the module." With a deep breath, Alex nodded, his heart pounding in his chest. "Let's do this." The door slid open with a hiss, revealing a dimly lit chamber filled with rows of ancient, humming machinery. The air was thick with the smell of ozone and burning circuits. Lyra's eyes locked onto the module, suspended in a stasis chamber at the far end of the room. But their moment of triumph was short-lived. Alarms blared to life, and the room erupted into chaos as the facility's defense system sprang online. The machinery around them began to whir, sparks flying as deadly laser beams crisscrossed the room. "Get to the module," Alex yelled, grabbing Lyra's hand as they sprinted across the room, dodging and weaving between the deadly beams. They reached the stasis chamber just as the laser cannons locked onto them. With a burst of adrenaline, Lyra smashed the chamber's control panel, and the module slid into Alex's waiting hands. But their escape was far from certain, as the alarms grew louder and the room began to shake beneath their feet. As they turned to flee, Dr. Patel's voice echoed through the intercom, her words dripping with desperation. "Alex, Lyra, we have a problem. The rival factions have breached the facility's outer perimeter. We need to get out now." The clock was ticking, and Alex knew they had to move fast. With the chrono displacement module clutched in his hand, he turned to Lyra, a grim determination etched on his face. "Let's get out of here, and pray we can outmaneuver our enemies once again." But as they burst out of the chamber, into the awaiting darkness of the facility's corridors, Alex knew that this was only the beginning of a far greater challenge. The rival factions were closing in, and the fate of humanity hung precariously in the balance. He could feel the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders, the burden of his new role as a leader, and the uncertainty of the future looming large. The escape from the research facility was a frantic blur of gunfire, explosions, and narrow escapes. They fought off rival treasure hunters, navigated treacherous corridors, and outmaneuvered the facility's deadly defense systems. But as they burst into the bright, sunlit skies of Zeridiroman 4, Alex knew that their ordeal was far from over. In the distance, a flotilla of rival ships lurked, their cannons primed and ready to strike. Alex's grip on Lyra's hand tightened, a spark of determination igniting within him. "We're not out of this yet," he whispered, his eyes locked onto the horizon. The battle for the future had only just begun. Previously. As Alex Carter and Lyra escaped the abandoned research facility on Zeridiroman 4, they were met with a rival fleet ready to strike, threatening to crush their hopes of securing the chrono displacement module and cementing humanity's position in the galaxy. With the module clutched in his hand, Alex knew he had to act fast to outmaneuver their enemies and ensure the safety of his people. He made a split-second decision, diverting the module's energy to create a localized temporal distortion, allowing them to escape the planet's atmosphere and flee into the unknown. As they emerged from the distortion, Alex's ship, the Aurora, materialized in the heart of a distant star system. Lyra's eyes locked onto the navigation console, her brow furrowed in concern. "Alex, we're receiving a transmission from an unknown source. It's a Galactic Council official, claiming to possess critical information about the ancient technology we're seeking." Alex's instincts kicked in, his mind racing with the possibilities. "Put it through," he ordered, his voice firm. The official, a gaunt figure with sunken eyes, appeared on the viewscreen. "Alex Carter, you have something that belongs to the Council. Hand over the chrono displacement module and we might spare your life." Alex's grip on the module tightened, his determination growing. "You'll have to do better than that," he replied, his voice cold. The official sneered. "You're playing with fire, Carter. You have no idea what you're up against. Meet me on the planet treacherous in 3 standard days. Come alone." The transmission ended, leaving Alex to ponder the official's words. He knew he couldn't trust the Council, but he also knew he couldn't ignore the opportunity to gain the upper hand. With a deep breath, Alex made his decision. "Lyra, assemble the team. We have a meeting to attend." The day of the meeting arrived, and Alex stood on the barren surface of treacherous, the module secure in his possession. The Council official, flanked by a contingent of heavily armed guards, sneered at him. "You're a fool for coming here, Carter," the official spat. "You think you can outsmart the Council?" Alex smiled, his confidence growing. "I'm not here to outsmart you. I'm here to make a deal." The official raised an eyebrow. "What could you possibly offer us?" "I have the module," Alex replied, holding it up. "But I'm willing to share its secrets with you in exchange for your help in securing the ancient technology." The official's eyes narrowed, his expression unreadable. "Very well, Carter. You've piqued my interest. Let's negotiate." As the two parties began their talks, Alex knew he was walking a thin line. He had to balance his desire for the technology with the need to protect his people from the Council's treachery. The negotiations were tense, with both sides making concessions and counteroffers. But Alex held firm, his determination driving him forward. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, the deal was struck. The Council would provide Alex with the location of the ancient technology, in exchange for the chrono displacement module and a promise of non-aggression. Alex knew he had to trust his instincts, no matter how uneasy the alliance made him feel. He handed over the module, his heart pounding in his chest. The Council official smiled, the module secure in his possession. "You've made a wise decision, Carter. Now, let's get down to business." With the deal done, Alex and his team set out to retrieve the ancient technology. They navigated treacherous landscapes, overcoming challenges and overcoming rival factions. Finally, after weeks of searching, they reached the heart of an ancient city, hidden deep within a long-abandoned planet. The air was thick with an otherworldly energy, the technology humming with power. Alex's eyes widened as he beheld the marvel before him. A massive crystalline structure pulsed with energy, its power coursing through the air. This was it, the key to humanity's future. With the technology secured, Alex knew his work was far from over. He had to return to Earth to share the secrets of the ancient technology with his people. As he stood on the surface of the planet, the technology glowing behind him, Alex felt a sense of pride and accomplishment wash over him. He had done it. He had secured the future of humanity. But as he turned to leave, he knew that this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, full of mysteries and wonders waiting to be discovered. And Alex Carter, the entrepreneur, the leader, and the visionary, was ready to take on the challenge. Epilogue. Years passed and humanity flourished under Alex's guidance. The ancient technology had been harnessed, its power igniting a new era of growth and discovery. As Alex stood on the surface of a new planet, one that humanity had just begun to colonize, he gazed out into the unknown, his eyes shining with wonder. Lyra stood beside him, her hand in his. "What's next, Alex?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Alex smiled, his heart full of excitement. "The stars, Lyra. The stars are next." The two of them stood there, bathed in the light of a new sun, their eyes locked onto the horizon, as the galaxy stretched out before them like an endless, shining sea.